Good morning. This is your math assignment for today. It's all about measuring in millimeters. So really, to be successful on this page, you're really going to want to have a ruler that shows centimeters and that also has little tick marks showing millimeters. So I'll try to show you my ruler here. It's see-through, so you may not be able to see it super well. And then I can also show you my online ruler, which will be a little bit better. So I think I'll post a video showing how you can maybe grab a ruler like this to use on your page if you are kind of looking at it online. But you'll see we have our numbers. And if we kind of think of this like a clock, it could help us understand it just because we were working with clocks last week. So our big numbers, they tell us about the centimeters. It kind of reminds me of the numbers on a clock telling us about the hours. And then the tick marks in between the numbers, each of those tick marks is 1 millimeter, which kind of reminds me of minutes on a clock. The tick marks, each of them equals 1 minute. But the difference is there's 5 minutes in between the numbers on a clock. And when we're looking at a ruler, there are 10 millimeters between the numbers, or between each centimeter, so between the numbers on a centimeter ruler. So we would use this to measure. So I'm going to model how I would use my ruler to measure the page. Now, I'm going to set my page to 100%, so hopefully my measurements are accurate, but you might want to check my measurements on your work page. The first part of the page is kind of an information section. It says you can read the length of this crown to the nearest centimeter, and you could say it's about 6 centimeters long, kind of round up to that nearest centimeter mark. But to be more precise, you can read the length in millimeters. So the crown is, or the crayon, is 59 millimeters long. So we're counting by tens because we're counting in millimeters. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and then I'm counting the ticks, 51, 52, all the way up to 59. You could also say the length in centimeters precisely. The crayon is 5.9 centimeters long, and that's like saying you've got 5 centimeters and you have 9/10 of the next centimeter. So you are almost at 6 centimeters, but you're not quite there. So it is a decimal amount. So 5 9/10. And I want you to do some measuring. So I'll show you with this first one how I would use my ruler to measure. I want you to measure these lines to the nearest centimeter, and then measure in millimeters, and then measure it precisely in centimeters. So I'm going to line up my ruler so that the 0 is at the back of the line, and then I'm going to take a look here. I don't think I can zoom in on the page when my ruler doesn't zoom in. So unfortunately, that doesn't really work. Let's make sure we're back to 100% with my zoom, and we'll get my ruler back set up here. Okay, so my line on my computer, if I'm rounding it to the nearest centimeter, I go 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's between the 4 and the 5. It's past the halfway mark. So it's going to round up to 5. So on the page, I'm going to write 5. And if I wanted to be accurate, I could say about 5 centimeters. So that shows we are estimating. And I can do that. And now I'm going to measure it in millimeters. So I've got my ruler back up, and I see it's 5 I'm looking really closely. 1, 2, 3. Looks like it's 5 sorry. It's not 5 point anything. It's not at the 5 yet. So we're talking about 4. So it is 4. So millimeters. I want to remember there are 10 millimeters in each centimeter. So I'm going to count 10, 20, 30, 40. That halfway mark is going to be 45. And then I can count 1, 2, 3, 45. So 46, 47, 48. So I think it is 48 millimeters. And I always want to include my unit so I know what I'm talking about. 48 millimeters. And then that amount in centimeters precisely is just going to be the same numbers, except instead of saying millimeters, I'm going to put a decimal between the numbers and call it centimeters. So 4.8 centimeters. So hopefully you're going to recheck my measure with your ruler on your paper version to make sure that it's the same as mine. But this is an example of how you would answer this first question. On the back, it tells you to work with a partner. You don't need to do that. You can work on your own, and it wants you to find some small objects. I have some here. The worksheet has suggested some things that you'd find in a classroom: a pencil, a crayon, a paper clip, a straw, and a craft stick. So you are going to estimate, and you only need to estimate one time. That's divided into two columns in case you had a partner. And then you're going to measure for the actual length in millimeters and centimeters. If you can't find a paper clip or a straw or a craft stick, you could make some substitutions. Maybe you're going to measure an eraser, a spoon. It's totally up to you. So I'm going to just show you, I'm going to measure my pencil. I'm going to estimate that it is I think it's going to be maybe 16 centimeters long. So I'm measuring it up with my ruler. And I see that I put the 0 line at the back of my pencil. So my estimate was 16 centimeters, and it wants me to estimate in centimeters. And I'm seeing my actual measurement. It looks like in millimeters, it is between the 18 and 19 on my ruler. So if I was counting by tens and I got all the way to the 18, that would be 180. And it's right in between, right in that middle spot. So I'm going to say it's 185 millimeters. And in centimeters, that would be, we're just going to move that decimal place one spot over to the left, 18.5 centimeters. So I'll hold my ruler up so you can see with my pencil right back at the 0 line. And then setting it up here on my ruler, it's about 18.5 centimeters. Okay, and then it will ask you to do this extra activity where you are measuring your hand and foot. And then you need to calculate the difference. And whenever you see the word difference in math, often what we're doing is subtracting the big number from the small number from the big number. To find out the amount that one is bigger than the other. Okay, check this activity out. I hope the video helps you, and good luck with your math.